pledge allegiance. Mr. Shaver, would you lead us in the pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Brown, would you give the invitation?
Let's pray. We thank you, God, for this new year, and during this year we ask that our dreams become realities, our leaders filled with wisdom, and may we all work together to make this a community of harmony for all those who live here. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was like 64, so I didn't touch it. I just had to turn on the
Grace
fans.
began to fry.
A little hot in the collar. Being started.
See what it did to my hair.
All right.
Fans.
All right, we'll go on into the agenda. Yeah. All right, on the agenda, approval of minutes from the previous meeting.
So,
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Wheeler and Mr. Palmer. Any changes or corrections? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. At this time, it's a special presentation. To Captain Steve Cook, will you please come up?
huh?
Sit down a bit.
I can't hear it.
Yep, all right. Captain Cook, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Kennett, Missouri as follows. Whereas Stephen W. Cook has rendered effective and faithful service to the City of Kennett, Missouri as a police officer, obtained the rank of captain for a total of 35 years. Whereas Stephen W. Cook has honored the duties incumbent upon that office and has always identified the highest ideals of public service on behalf of our city. And whereas it is altogether fitting and proper that recognition be given by our community to Stephen W. Cook for dedicated service as a police officer. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Kennett, Missouri, that Stephen W. Cook is hereby commended for exemplary service to the people of Kennett, Missouri. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Yes, sir? All right. Move into new business. Item A is appoint Bob Green to the Board of Public Works. I would ask that council consider appointing Bob Green to Board of Public Works.
So moved.
Motion, second, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Item B, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Malott.
I've talked to Chief Dennis and Diane, are you the one that was talking with them to do some painting back there? Okay.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure that Sergeant Caldwell, who's on light duty, I think he's gonna work with some other people and just kind of oversee it, but we need to make sure if he's gonna be climbing ladders and that it's within the scope of the light duty. That's the only concern. Now, I understand the money's coming out of the overall budget for the building here. And it does need, I mean, I'm not opposed to it because there needs to be, this is first step. You don't want to get carpets or new floor coverings down before you paint, so I think this is the first step to dress it up back there. It's been years since anything's been done.
I can specifically remember when it was last painted. I was a code enforcement officer at the time.
All right. How about item C? I think that's also, we had this cell phone policy was brought up and it was tabled to this meeting due to the fact of the PD.
And we need to table it again. Chief Dennis and I have not gotten together on that. We'll go before the next meeting. Yeah.
needs to be.
Yeah.
On just the cell phone or on the transitional or both?
Just cell phone, transitional.
The transitional is already in the employee handbook, but evidently there's some wording in there that, Jeff Arp would rather have changed. So this is just, complying with Murma. And he will be here Thursday.
It would behoove us to change it.
Yes, so that I can tell him.
Well, I mean, has it been changed?
You tabled it last meeting.
I know, but, like, 'cause I wanted to read it, and I have gone through it and read it, and you can see them highlighted and whatever, but
It
when
would
I,
be brought up tonight to change.
Yeah.
It'd be preferred if we could do that tonight.
well, I mean, but what about Jeff? What is?
That
what's he
is
want?
Murma's model policy.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what he wants.
Yeah.
All right.
And
The
so
changes that are being made is what Worm is requesting.
they're recommending no, even hands-free. I mean, Department of Transportation, even lets truckers use hands-free, and when you look at the law enforcement, that's a secondary
Well,
important
that's on the
meaning.
cell phone,
A
and
cell phone.
that's not Murma.
This-
We took that off City Like Gas and Water, and we may not follow that, but that's why I need to talk with you all about altering that, because there are gonna be times when, you all are gonna have to use hands-free.
Well, this has to do with that
Yeah.
light duty.
This is
part.
completely different, this is,
All right,
transitional
I
duty.
apologize.
Yeah, the cell phone, we'll get to that next week.
Well, let's go ahead and go into temporary transitional duty. Mr. Wheeler, I'll start over here, give you the floor.
Okay, I mean, all I did, I mean, because it gives us an opportunity, I think we had a lot of dilemmas in recent years handling our light duty policy, and this one here spells out pretty specifically who are, you know, those who are capable of performing alternative assignments, and only until they reach maximum medical improvement, I mean, it's kind of a wide open picture, but at least it gives us a benchmark to go by, you know, and under definitions, medically certified illness, you know, we had trouble getting feedback and information, whatever, so this puts a little more meat into that part of it. Down in line 2 of paragraph 4, procedures there, assignments may be changed at any time, which makes a good, page 1, paragraph,
Under procedures.
Okay.
paragraph 4, procedures, or paragraph 2 of article 4.
Okay.
But where the assignment can be changed at any time, so I mean, otherwise if well, he's talking about painting the wall back there, I mean, if they run out of paint, you know, or some shortcoming, at least they got the strength in the assignment now that it's there on it. And further on though, but if there's no specific position done or available, then they don't let him have to have the light duty, right?
That's right,
The way I'm reading it.
that's right.
And then only 90 days, so.
I would like to add that on number 5 down there, it talks specifically about only law enforcement cannot work in outside employment. I think there should be another line at the bottom of that that says any other city employee. If you're on light duty and you can't perform your duty for the city at the level that you were hired at, you should not be able to go to some part-time job. But here it just specifically mentions law enforcement, and it mentions why they shouldn't, but I think there should be another line added that it also includes all the other departments and employees. I would hate to see, you know, I got somebody on light duty here, and they're going and doing light duty, that's almost 2 times in one day is almost equal to a full-time job, a regular duty.
So that would go by city personnel, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it would be under number 5 there on
Yeah.
page 2.
Page
It
2.
specifically mentions law enforcement. I think it's only fair that it includes any other employee as well. If you're on light duty, we're gonna try to accommodate you, but don't then go do another part-time job after that.
You
You're
got
trying
that,
to
Terry?
heal, you're trying to get back to 100%.
On page 2, item 5 there, Terry.
Well, yeah, we can change that.
Just add another sentence on the bottom of it that says, And all other city employees.
Now, we gotta change more than that, because if we just add all other city employees, then we're saying all other city employees can't perform law enforcement functions.
Put a 5.
5 and 6 relates to that same thing, but it's.
Yeah.
Now, are we reading this, or am I reading this right, I guess? Is this reinstating or working someone light duty for non-work related condition? We just changed that a few months back.
Well, I understand that the only employees that are, going to be eligible are those that have work-related injuries, or those are the ones that are given preference.
Well, under policy, it says for employees who, because of injury, illness, well, that doesn't say on the job.
Well, I think the definition under paragraph 3, where it says medically certified illness, okay, let's, I had a knee replacement several years ago, but during that recovery time, I was up and about and able to do things, all right, but not at full state. So had I been I probably even came to some council meetings, incapacitated, although I was not on a light duty status, but we could have an employee who had something like that, could we not?
Yes.
It's not work related, but
it doesn't have to be work related, but work related injuries are given preference,
Yeah.
because there's not gonna be very many positions available
Yeah.
for temporary, for the
Yeah.
temporary
Okay,
transition.
that's true too.
But if you have a work related injury, you get preference to get that position.
Right, okay.
But if you have a non-work related medical condition, that does not prohibit you from getting the new transition duty.
Oh, I want to ask something else on that paragraph 4 of procedures, on page 2 there, where it says, it's the 90 days duration, all right, and then if they're not able to return to full duty at that time, they can present a request for an extension for 90 days. Now,
Yes.
is that a one-time exemption, or can we just keep on doing it?
Not to exceed an additional 90 days. Yeah, I see what your question is.
I think that's right, because it says not to exceed an additional 90 days.
Well,
It depends on how you read it.
but then after he does that, can we do another 90? Now we're up to 270.
That doesn't prohibit it. I don't know if it prohibits it, but there's nothing that says you have to grant it either.
Is that pretty much just gonna be up to the physician to determine whether we grant that or not?
No, it's gonna be up to us to determine whether or not we grant it. It's up to the physician to determine whether or not they have a disability. It's up to us as whether or not we grant transitional duty.
As council. That's what I hear, it says designated personnel authority to the chief executive officer as designate, that would be the mayor. Okay.
So should we put a limit on the number of extensions?
That's up to you, but I think
Mayor could limit it.
I think the mayor can limit it. I think you ought to give yourself as much flexibility as you want.
There's liable to be an extenuating circumstance at some point we'd want to go the other direction.
Sure.
And if it couldn't,
Yeah.
this gives us the opportunity to
To go
do
either
both.
way.
Yeah, that's why you want to give yourself flexibility.
Is there any more discussion regarding this?
One, we talk about a city-selected position. Do we have a designated position for city, that we send someone to?
Dr. James.
Dr. James? Okay.
Any other
But
questions?
we're not required, I mean, we can send them to anybody we want. I mean, that's who the city uses right now. But
If we
say you
need
got somebody,
specialists or something.
if we need specialists, send to the specialists.
All right, I'm going to paragraph, page 3, under temporary transitional duty assignments, item 2, the city's personnel authority. Now, I don't know who that personnel being, human resource department or committee or whatever shall maintain an inventory of available jobs. So, I guess that would mean that you department heads would have to jot down a few things that you consider, light duty or whatever, that could be done, but on the other hand, they're probably not gonna be there forever either, so.
That could probably be a case by case.
Yeah, you're probably right, Mayor, yeah. Anyway, all right.
Any of you get other questions? If the council wants to proceed.
We want to wait until this, one article that Mr. Malott was talking about change before we approve it, or do we want to approve it tonight?
Should approve it tonight. I mean, I can,
Terry, can't they approve it that with the adding that addition into it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there may be an explanation from Jeff as to why it's worded that way.
We can word it any way we want to word it. Let's say,
Can it be a number 1 and
wait a minute.
maybe?
Okay. I think all we need to do is, eliminate the words law enforcement at the beginning and law enforcement in the middle. What that would say, the personnel who are on temporary transitional duty are prohibited from engaging in outside employment in which they would be expected to perform functions for which they've been determined physically and mentally unable. And therefore, if they've been determined to be physically unable to perform their normal functions related to their employment with the city, they can't, while they're on transitional duty, they can't go out and have a part-time job in which they perform the same functions. So eliminate the words law enforcement from that.
Paragraph 6 would take care of the law enforcement issues anyway, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, it's different, but it's, if they're on, and again, it has a caveat depending upon the nature and extent of the disability, that if they're unable to perform law enforcement functions, they could be prohibited from wearing the uniform and carrying a weapon, or otherwise engaging in police powers.
Motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Discussion of safety incentive program.
They do the mark that out. We were gonna do that.
All right. Mind about that? I didn't
That'll
say
be
that.
tabled.
Table.
The safety incentive.
Sections.
Okay.
Item E, payroll issues. Where do we go with that?
I guess we'll just go with the last go-round for payroll for the city brought up a couple of different questions. The first one that came up is in the police department. They are working, not all of them, but some of them are working 40 hours one week, 30 hours the second week, and then they're putting the holiday on there for their pay. So our thought was that they really should be working 40 hours both weeks, and that way it should help the police department not be shorthanded that one shift. And then we need to decide how to handle the holiday pay. But this is something that the council did. Did you find yours, Bob?
I didn't find what I was trying to find, so.
Okay. The council had approved doing this, but I believe it was with the understanding that it was 40 and 40,
Yes.
and then getting paid for a holiday on at least one paycheck a month.
I'm going on memory, that's always dangerous at my age, but what we came up with on this, and the way it was set forth, and I can't tell you how it was administered, but we said to make this fair, we would take the holidays and pay everybody for the holidays, one per month, and set those aside. In essence, they came off the calendar. After that, it was hours worked, 40-40. So if we're working 40-30, my recollection, that's not fulfilling what the council said. The work week's supposed to be 40-40. If somebody remembers different, speak up, but there was a lot of complaints about the holidays at the time, and that was the solution that was worked out, was to basically pay everybody for their holidays and set them aside. They have no bearing on your work week.
Well, at that time, when it was changed to a 40-hour pay period, we were paying, pretty sure we were paying police officers. Whoever worked that holiday were paid overtime pay. And then, and of course, whoever was off shift got the holiday pay already, or didn't get but it was 40 hours worked and 40 hours paid. And the council come back, and that's why I was brought to the council about making the holiday, one holiday per month. And so that's where we stand, I believe. I agree with you.
That's my recollection of it. If it hadn't worked that way, I don't think we've lived up to the intent.
So how does their court time figure into that when they get into court?
Under the Fair Labor Standard Act, there can be another 2.5 hours per week that they can work at straight time before they go into overtime. When you look at that, it's 5 more hours per pay period. That can cover any court time. It can cover their MIRMA requirement that they got to do once a month on their training. So when I did payroll last budget, I figured it on the 170. Really, it's 171 if you're on a 28-day cycle. We're on a 14-day pay cycle, so it's 170. So with that, they've got up to another, I think it's 85 hours a week, a pay period that they can do before they go into overtime. And the city not be violating the overtime rules.
When this was brought up, there was a question asked about that, and what we understand is pretty minimal amount of time that's in court.
And there's some nights they got to, like by Murphy's Law, they're ready to get off at 2:30 or at 3, and they have something at 2:30, and they're there till 3:30 or 4 doing a report. Because the next day, someone's coming in and want a copy of that report, or the prosecutor wants to see what's happening the next day if someone was put in jail. So they have no choice but to finish the report.
But clerk asked we had a get-together with Chief and Terry, myself. There's some issues that we want to get clarified, and we're gonna have the council clarify those for us. And give her a direction that we need to go. But, and that's one of them, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Do we wanna handle this one before we move to the next one?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to. So,
The other reason we made that decision was because other city employees were also getting, holiday pay. And so we put that day in for the police department so that the police would have holiday pay as well. So I recall it exactly the way you do as well.
so it's supposed to be 40-hour pay period and
10
hour.
10 hours extra for holiday.
So we on the same page?
Do you have a different schedule that you were looking at, too?
Well, there's bit, I mean, if you look at the schedule, there have been some people working 40 and some, both weeks, and some people working 40 and some people putting a holiday in there as 30. Chief Dennis went and revised the schedule so that those 10 unworked hours weren't being figured in as work, because if we were audited by the Department of Labor, you're gonna have a hard time trying to decipher if it was worked hours or non-worked hours, and if it was non-worked hours, it really doesn't go against the city towards overtime. But if it was worked hours and we didn't pay the appropriate amount, which we really didn't have to, but there's no way to prove or disprove, it could go against us. So he revised that timesheet to reflect worked hours and benefit hours, or non-worked hours. And that's where they're supposed to put the 10 hours is over here on the benefit. It's a benefit. Put it over here, it doesn't get calculated in towards their overtime.
So they get 12 holidays.
As I recall, that's what's on the books as well.
About
All
once
city
a month.
employees.
Okay, but I mean, otherwise, so if we take 2 days for Thanksgiving, they only get one. They only get credit for one in November or whatever it was.
If you really look at it, there's 26 pay periods, or 13 months in a year. So if they're doing it each month, they're probably picking up that extra one, if they're doing it consistently.
End of the year, there should be 120 hours of paid as holiday pay. And that's all it would be.
I don't have any problem with that. As long as they're, but what we're saying though, they actually only work 70 hours.
For 1 week out of a month. Or I mean, for one pay period out of a month.
And so what we're looking though, how do we get them to work 80 hours?
You make a schedule out for 80 hours. I directed Chief Dennis that we need to go to the 80 some time ago. I thought that was all set in stone, because when you're hiring your short officers and you're pulling, and not every officer does it, but let's say 14 or 15 are doing it, you're losing 140 man hours a month on that. So yeah, you're gonna be short people. It could be that one day, that one extra person or two on there may be filling a gap that we don't have to pay the overtime. It's very difficult to predict your payroll outcome, or your figure out your payroll in a year's time.
But what we're getting at though, then if they work 80 hours and we still pay them 10-hour holidays.
The 10 hours is
they just don't get,
Benefit work hours.
but they don't get, so they never get a day off for a holiday.
That's why you're paying them for 12. Because if they work the holiday, in reality, they're getting double time. They worked the holiday and they got paid, and they got their full holiday pay, so they got double time. Where other departments are getting time and a half. You gotta look at it, it comes out in the wash one way or another. I mean,
But you say they're getting double pay.
well, if they worked the holiday, they were getting their regular paid hours. That's part of their 40 hours. You're giving them the 10 over here. So if you wanted to say it in reality, during that holiday, they're getting, then they worked, they got paid, their regular 40 hours fell within that work. Everybody can't be off, somebody's gotta work the holiday. So they're gonna get paid for that within their 40, but they got their holiday over here. If you overlapped them, they were actually double time.
Okay. On the other
But we
hand,
agreed.
are your officers happy with that setup?
What they're working now, they are.
We're working 70. and getting paid for eight.
Can I speak?
Yes,
We go back many, many years how this all got set up and they changed the schedule. There was no overtime back then. And all they had